South Africa marked the year-end 2020 under stringent lockdowns and restrictions on alcohol, parties, and so on. There's no such restrictions and lockdowns yet in the run-up to this year's holiday season. So, how are South Africans gearing up for the holidays period now here? Mxosili Masango is our Rice correspondent in Johannesburg, and he joins me now for a chat to this dinner tonight. Good evening, my friend. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you too, Bosun.
Thank you so much. How are you South Africans preparing for the year-end long holidays under the cloud of the Omicron virus variant?
Wilson, you know, if there's one thing that South Africans have been known for is to just try and find light at the end of the tunnel for whatever situation that they might be going through. I mean, like you've also mentioned, you know, it's just been a year now that South Africans are celebrating another Christmas under, the global pandemic COVID-19. And in light of the discovery of the new variant Omicron just a few weeks ago, South Africans are not going to be deterred from celebrating their Christmas holidays, it seems. As we're having these conversations, I was actually looking at some of the revelers who were, at one of the beaches, at one of the tourist attractions here in South Africa, in Durban. We've seen how beaches are starting to now fill up, and the likes of Port Elizabeth, as well as other provinces which have beaches, most South Africans have been starting to flock there. However, they've used this time to also criticize police as well as government for their heavy-handedness in terms of dealing with ensuring that there's still a significant number of COVID-19 protocol that is observed. However, this proves also a bit difficult in these times because you have South Africans who are flocking a beach at this time. You can't really, make sure and ascertain that there's sufficient social distancing, there's sufficient, sanitizing, and they're definitely not wearing masks in those beaches at this time. So right now it would seem that South Africans have a sense of saying, you know what, whatever, we will continue and celebrate our December Christmas holidays in light of COVID-19, and whether or not there's a new variant, we will continue. We will go out on a holiday. We will hit the beaches. We will, of course, continue to go about our lives, Bosun. And this is at a time where we literally just came back just this last week when the president had tested positive for COVID-19. There was a statement that was released that South Africa would be remaining in, of course, alert level lockdown 1, which doesn't really change much, which really now means that South Africans should be planning their holidays in earnest and, of course, ensuring that they are safe throughout these holidays, especially in light of this new variant that was discovered. And this is also at a time where today, as we're having this conversation, about 15,424 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the past 24 hours, Bosun.
Yeah, from what we saw at the end of those two major events in November, the IATF and the Africa Energy Summit both in Durban and in Cape Town, are there stricter observance of COVID-19 protocols in South Africa than when we finished those conferences there, those summits over there? Are things a whole lot tighter? And are they beginning to impact on businesses that are related to year-round holidays and festivities? Mxosili?
Interesting, Bosun, because, just straight after we had attended the Intra-Africa Trade Fair for this year, where we've seen African countries coming together under one roof to discuss, tightening African trade relations and so forth. We've seen another summit that was held there, which was the AIDS Summit, which was held in the very same venue. So we're seeing a government here in South Africa right now that is welcoming of these events that are starting to gain momentum in the country. But of course, they also said that they'll rather err on the side of caution by ensuring that they're still, in a position where they have a level lockdown 1 instead of really completely removing South Africa from a COVID-19 lockdown level, because this is at a time where a new variant has just been discovered. And this is also at a time where you have a South African government, which is currently struggling to have many South Africans vaccinated vaccinated. As we're having this conversation, Bosun, about less than 40% of the South African population is fully vaccinated, that is. And right now, there are also talks about how South Africans might need to go through and get their booster shots of the vaccine. So you have a government on the one hand that is very cautious about these holidays. And on the other hand, you have South Africans that are saying, look, we are willing to meet government halfway, but there should be other ways in which we are meeting government halfways, because some of them will not be taking vaccinations. They should rather stay safe wherever they're going. And we're seeing some of the major tourist attractions, like you've rightfully mentioned, such as Durban, getting a bigger piece of the cake in terms of South Africans, because the South African tourism sector has said that they'll be making money domestically this year instead of international tourists, because there's been a pandemonium in the global community after there were also talks about how the Omicron variant was discovered here in the country. So most international tourists deciding to play it safe and not really come to South Africa. So Tourism South Africa saying that they're hoping that South Africans are the ones who are going to be the big money spinners by bringing, domestic travels into all these tourist attractions that South Africa has domestically.
Well, so year-end 2020 was a hard lockdown for you South Africans. So we should be expecting this year to be, there are no restrictions yet on alcohols or parties or beach parties. So how is the administration weighing this very carefully, considering how hard the issue around alcohol consumption, transportation of alcohol, and what have you were taken towards the end of last year and into January this year, with repercussions for the brewing industry, for the alcohol industry in South Africa. So do you think folks will drink themselves to, surviving the first year and the second year of COVID-19 pandemic in South Africa this year and try to stay safe at the same time?
Bosun, I was actually had a tongue-in-cheek moment as you were asking this question, because this time last year, South Africans, were told that they couldn't really be drinking in public. Most pubs were closed. Most restaurants couldn't really trade freely because they had to be, sent back into a hard lockdown around this time. And even most South Africans jokingly saying that they were turned into criminals around this time, because some of them had to smuggle alcohol into their boots, and some of them had to smuggle alcohol into their homes by, of course, making use of backdoor avenues that were available at that time, backdoor avenues that were charging exorbitant amounts just to ensure that South Africans have their alcohol fix for that time, which was the festive season. So that's in sharp contrast to what we're seeing this year, where it's more relaxed, where alcohol outlets are now opening and freely trading according to the normal hours from about 10 a.m. to about 6 p.m., where South Africans are able to stock up on their bars. And most South Africans have actually welcomed this move. And of course, this is at the back of when last week they came out to say that South African will not be removed from level lockdown 1. They would really be trying to ensure that all sectors benefit out of this, especially the liquor sector that you've just mentioned, which is one of the big money spinners for the economy in the country. And of course, we heard how as the president was taking his leave to recover from COVID-19, the deputy president, Didi Mabuza, in a statement said that they'd be guarding and ensuring that they strike a perfect balance in guarding and safeguarding that South Africans' lives are saved against the newly discovered Omicron variant, as well as livelihoods are saved by ensuring that restaurants are trading, by ensuring that all those liquor outlets are also dispersing liquor to South Africans, seeing that alcohol is one of the big money spinners, especially when it comes to the festive season. So South Africans have also been warned, in this festive season to ensure that they enjoy responsibly whatever it is that they will be doing during this time, especially with all the festivities that have begun.
Mxosili Masango, that's my final parting shot. Stay safe, enjoy yourself responsibly.